Questlove, a flying tackle by NWA.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm a really good champ.
Gotta be the best of me. He's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
It calls the 10 pounds of gold championship has existed in its current progress.
That canvas pretty hard, and look at Buddy go to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, Billy Corgan's NWA. We got another one in the bag here. I am just booking through these. Normally I try to do these like once a week, but I got a lot of energy about this save, and I'm excited to get to MidAtlantic Mayhem and move on from there. Excited to book some tournaments and things, so I just want to kind of keep on powering through. So don't always expect 2 episodes in a week, but hey, who knows? You know, I don't have a real schedule. I just kind of do these whenever I want. We had a pretty good show. Not bad. Some problems, let's say, in the promo range. Probably not the best booked when it came to the undercard. And I think actually our main event suffered a little bit too. And we didn't, unfortunately, get Brian Pillman where we wanted him to be. We have red hot momentum. He still is just considered a star, which is a bummer. And that's going to be a problem if we want to book him over Chris Jericho in a week. So we might have to call an audible and change that up for now, just so Jericho isn't furious. You know, we do have a lease with him, but we don't want to have ill will. You know, AEW's doing us a favor by giving him to us, and to shit on that through some booking that he's mad about is not going to be something that we want to set as a precedence for our alliance. But, you know, there's other plans, there's things that we can do. Obviously, we still have the mystery of who Billy Corgan's secret signee is. I saw some pretty good guesses, and I gave a pretty big hint last week, and I know for a fact at least one person called it exactly. So I'm sure a lot of you know who it is by now. I think that the hint was pretty obvious, to be honest. And that person is going to cost a little bit more than, you know, maybe what we normally pay, not obscenely more. So we might have to get rid of like 2 people on the undercard to make up for it, depending on if financially he doesn't work out. But it's fine. It's I think that person's skill set and ingrained popularity and character work will more than make up for the very slightly increase in price and funds. Overall, I mean, financially, we're, you know, let's say, well, I think performance here, so we're actually positive so far, if I'm reading that right. No pay-per-view revenue, obviously, because we haven't had one yet. Financial estimates. So production costs are $22,500 a month. Marketing costs is 0 right now, and miscellaneous costs is 0. We have no monthly wage bill because we don't have downsides anymore, I guess. And our income sponsorship is $175,000. Actually, a lot more than we had in the previous build of the game. So, you know, not horrendous. We'll look at the merchandise after MidAtlantic Mayhem. I'm kind of curious to see who is the merch seller, because we might increase merch sales for that person and see if we can capitalize on some of that popularity. Yeah, so what do we got here? We got 58,000 sponsorship. Performance. What is this exactly? Here's how much they gained or lost. Yeah, so that's what it is. So we've actually gained 17,000 so far. Of course, we only had 1 show, really. 2 shows, technically. So, you know, it's not necessarily something that it could easily dip out in our favor here, though. With the amount of money we're going to make in sponsorship here, I think we're going to be okay. In fact, once we look at the end of the month, I'm going to look at the financials, and we might be able to hire some even bigger names to try to really drum up some some bigger buzz. Our momentum's pretty strong, 43% momentum, which is not too shabby. Let's go ahead and let's move on over to Power. For convenience, Full Sail Universe. Oh, I forgot to make a new thing. So we would be in Full Sail for this show, which would be funny. No, we're not going to do that though. We'll just go into Atlanta. We got to make a show though. Tire cost 400. It's not bad. Select this location. It's fine. All right, we do have incident. Marty Bell and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's still just hanging out backstage, not getting paid, just here, performing wrestlers' court, drinking the bubbly. It's very nice of him. Marty Bell was brought for a wrestler's court, accused of not joining the rest of the locker room for the night out. A positive impact. Thanks, Jericho. We do have some people that are unhappy. It's really just one or two. I'm not really wanting to do an open forum. Metal and it's kind of an odd one, but I'm going to give it, what is Thunder Rosa? A negative metal. No. Just in case when Sasha does leave, I want to have the least amount of people maybe affected by it. So, like I said, 44 show rating is not bad. We want to get like 48 or higher because that'll grow our home territory, and that's really ultimately the goal. So, most of our pre-booking has been done, really. So we can kind of just try to make this the best show we can, right? And just really hammer it out to try to get that show rating, which we might do. So we'll have to take a look at what we have. Our weakness, obviously, Corgan, as for what we booked him as, was bad. I'll have to take a look at what I did with that. I don't quite remember. Angle of Billy Corgan. What was he slated for? I don't remember, but whatever it is, I'll not do that again for sure. And what was the other one that was a real weak link? Oh yeah, Flip. The Flip angle was pretty bad, but that was mostly him poorly improvising. I keep on forgetting the game defaults to unscripted promos, and in the previous game it defaulted to scripted promos. So he flubbed out there when we should have just gave him a script and let him, just read off of it. He probably would have done better, but we got a penalty for that. All right, we've got an hour to book, not too big of a deal. Like I said, I think literally every storyline is ready. Von Erichs are going. We have that pre-booked. We don't have the Eddie Kingston, Eli Drake. We should probably do something for to build up their match. You know what we probably should have too. We should probably build up a storyline for Scott Steiner's Shoney's, because we kind of have that, and I don't know. I don't know who we want to be involved. Let's see who we got. Should be a face, ideally. Let's look at our roster. Who the hell have we put in here? I just don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it offline. And we'll do something building up the storyline. But we'll build a Scott Steiner Shoney storyline here. Technically, he's going to be going into head to head with even the board of directors, right? Because the goal was to get the belt back, and they used him as a merc for it, but they didn't want him to make it to Shoney's championship because only he's profiting from that. That's like a vested interest from him. But so there's some tension there. But maybe I'll have him go against Tim Storm or something. Tim Storm versus Scott Steiner. I don't know. I'll look at the roster and I'll figure it out. But we'll maybe start that storyline so we have that rolling. Because the Sasha one will end and we're going to do a different women's storyline. And we might be building a women's stable that's been much requested on my Discord. And if you're not on my Discord, think about signing up. Invite is in the description. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people just chatting, shooting the shit about wrestling. I highly recommend joining in. It's a direct line to me, so you can always talk to me and harass me if you want. Or send me dumb wrestling memes are always fun. So think about joining up. All right. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and book this show, our go-home show for MidAtlantic Mayhem. All right, we got a show. We'll see how this does. But we got Jericho showing up at the main event, so it should give us a boost. This is our go-home for MidAtlantic Mayhem. Let's go ahead and see how it goes. We start the show off with a women's match. It's not great, but I wanted to see how Marty Bell does. She's, for some reason, in the save set as a heel. I don't know why. But it's not great. They're both actually pretty bad in this match. It's actually a poor way to start the show. We kill the crowd's enthusiasm, which is not great. Marty Bell gets the win. This is not great. We have a huge issue in our women's division, and I think that should be probably the next area we look at. We're getting rid of Sasha. We have Tessa, but we need maybe to do something here. I don't know. We need a bit stronger because I think it's holding us back, and I don't want to just completely get rid of and strip out the women's division. We just need to find some people that are either already have some built-in popularity or can work a little bit better. Afterwards, Eli Drake joins the commentary booth to be a special commentator while watching an upcoming match between Eddie Kingston and Ricky Ruckus, some enhancement talent that we grabbed. No, what gimmick did we... Oh, right, we were going to turn him heel. I don't know if we will yet, but we will change his gimmick. Because I think he's going to be fighting against Eddie Kingston, who definitely is a heel. I think we'll use... we'll let Eli play the face for now, and we can always turn him heel later. We can get a little bit of a bonus from that. Got a great rating for Arrogant Egomaniac. I do love how easy it is to write and manipulate gimmicks in this game. Definitely a step up. I've been having fun with that. Makes them feel a little bit more personalized without losing the uniqueness of the gimmicks. This segment gets a 34, which, for just a simple overness 1 minute segment is great. Not really going to affect us in the long run, but it's not bad. Ricky Ruffin, who we pulled from a previous NWA affiliate as a potential young lion enhancement talent. It has some potential. It doesn't really show it in here, but it's just a real quick squash match. Eddie Kingston defeats Ricky Ruffin in 3 minutes by pinfall after a back fist to the future. Eddie Kingston's hungry for action. Lost heat from this segment, unfortunately, and this is not a great rated match, but Kingston is pretty good and it just was held down from Ricky. We have a gimmick. Yeah, what do we... Oh, still Eli. No, it's fine. Because he's ringside, and he's still here, technically. After the fact, we have Eddie Kingston grabbing a microphone and cutting a little promo. Eli Drake is still the Alliance champion and has basically carried it around through Impact. Mostly Impact he's gone to on loan. Kingston grabs the microphone, stares at Eli Drake, who's still obviously sitting in the commentary booth, and he cuts a promo. He says, it's funny how out of control perceptions are. They can ruin your life, frame you forever, and it's all out of your control. I'm getting older, and those doorways I looked at in the past, well, they're closing. And most of the time, those doors locked due to reasons out of my control. Because of people's perceptions. That I'm a brute. That I'm a thug. That I'm not marketable. That I'm a drunk. That I'm dangerous. I'm not a major league player. Well, I'm 37 years old, and I've busted people open up and down the Northeast for over a decade. I know I can go. I know what I can do. and perceptions be damned. I'm going to control my own destiny. Drake, I want a title shot. I want to represent this alliance, whether they want me to or not. And when I strip it from your body, I'm going to be a goddamn menace upon every company in here. Drake, kind of being smug, does accept. So we have a Kingston versus Drake Alliance title match at MidAtlantic Mayhem. This does pretty okay. It's a 34. Drake was doing pretty poor when trying to improvise. Had him acting on the side, and apparently he didn't do very well. Kingston, obviously, though, very strong mic worker and went off script and did fantastic. Got to the crowd hotter. Kingston foreshadowed a heel turn. How we don't have him set as a heel, I don't know. A freestyle segment afterwards. We have another angle, and we have a signing. I guess it's sort of a Chekhov signing table that whenever there is a signing, you know it's going to break out into drama. They're out here to sign for a triple threat for the tag, or for the women's title that Tessa is currently a champion of. Has all three signing, and then a fight breaks out. All three of them are fighting. It's pretty good. 34. We advance the storyline who can take on Sasha Banks, which really isn't much of a story anymore. We're going to end it at MidAtlantic Mayhem because it's really more of the Tessa Blanchard show now. Sasha improvised well. Paul Pinky George, superb work without a script. He's got a great microphone ability, great talking ability, so he does really well here. And, got the crowd hotter. Overall, did pretty good. Pretty solid area. Now, 34 is a little low, but, for what we're working with, I think it's pretty good. Another squash match. It's a night of squash matches, it seems. Extremely short match. We have Nick Aldis defeating Zicky Dice in 3 minutes by pinfall. Zicky had a 42. Aldis had a 53. Overall, the match rating was 35, which is not fantastic. It's shockingly low. I think it's because of how short the match is. Afterwards, Aldis cuts a promo. Says he can't believe he's not booked on MidAtlantic Mayhem. How he's carried this company, that he represents the board of directors, and that he has not had a match. He wants an opponent worthy of him at MidAtlantic Mayhem. And we will see if he gets it. Segment gets a 53, not bad. Also, pretty good segment here. We got 57 from Scott Steiner coming out with the Shoney's Championship, crowd favorite, and a microphone. God help us all. Steiner starts talking, and he starts talking about Shoney's fantastic breakfast menu options that are available now at his local Shoney's, just 30 minutes away from the stadium, or the studio that they're in right now. 10% off anybody that shows their NWA Power ticket. He eventually gets distracted from his promo of his business, and he says, this title is important to people, and he introduces the Shoney's Showdown. It's a triple threat match open challenge that will happen tonight. The first 3 people in the ring will be able to be in it, and the winner will get a chance to face him for the illustrious Shoney's Championship, and also get a 10% off coupon if they do not win. He walks off after making a booking decision, apparently. Paul Pinky George, who was just out a little bit ago, is ringside. He's right behind the curtains, and Scott Steiner's still holding his mic, so you can hear Paul Pinky George tearing into him and yelling. The microphone's obviously still on and picking it up, and Piggy's like, "You can't book things, only I can book things. What are you doing?" To which Steiner yells at him, "I just did, bitch," before the microphone finally cuts out. So Steiner, out of control, apparently not only giving out booking decisions, but also coupons, and just using the championship as a personal advertisement for his business and his brand. Just does great. And the Shoney's showdown happens, and the first 3 people are Tim Storm, Matt Cross, and Ricky Starks. It's unfortunately a poor match, though honestly it's not too bad. Matt Cross was definitely the head in terms of in-ring performance. Tim Storm not that far behind, about 10 points below, and Ricky Starks kind of trailing behind. We got a 44, which is not bad for us. Matt Cross, though, ultimately defeats Tim Storm and Ricky Starks. Matt Cross pins Ricky Starks from above. not bad. And obviously that means Matt Cross will be facing Scott Steiner at MidAtlantic Mayhem for the Shoney's Championship. Very exciting. It's my favorite storyline right now, to be honest. I love the stupid Shoney's Championship. I have so much planned for it. And in our main event, we have Brian Pillman Jr. facing his tenuous enemy of my enemy is my friend alliance of Brody Lee. Brody Lee, the Founders Champion, has a shot at the championship whenever he wants. Brian Pillman Jr., the number one contender, and this has been booked to kind of see where they stand. And in a shocking upset, Pillman actually defeats Brody Lee in 12 minutes with a quick cradle. Brody Lee looking dominant in the match, though, but Pillman does, in fact, get the edge, gets the momentum going into the match with Chris Jericho. Overall, segment goes pretty well. Brody actually was generally fine with the booking of this, which is a good sign. And finally, the main event, post-main event, after Brody Lee is shocked and looks to be about ready to attack Pillman, after Pillman kind of, not cheated, but kind of got a cheap win out of it. Jericho comes out to his music, holding both the AEW Championship and the NWA Championship. Because in the save, he still is AEW champion. Probably should look at that, but I'm pretty sure he is. Comes out, attacks both of them. All three end up brawling. Jericho obviously stands tall over the whole fight. Not quite fair because both of them were basically at 50% capacity, but kind of getting that momentum back. Painmaker gimmick that we gave him does debut as great. We advance the storyline of 10 pounds of gold and gain heat, and our final segment rating is a 59, which is fantastic for us. Boost our overall rating to 51. Beautiful. Exactly what we wanted. The undercard weaker, but from Nick Aldis up, looking solid. Like if we could pull a 50 every show, we'd be looking absolutely fantastic. All right, we do have some mail here. Scott Steiner's opinion, he doesn't like Ricky Ruffin. That's fine. Viewing figures at 0.03, 26,000 viewers. Not too shabby overall. Can't complain about that. Our loan with Jericho still going on, which is my concern about how this was going to work, but it seems like we are fine with that. I don't know how long the loan's set in this. I think the loans work a little bit differently in the save, and I'm not 100% sure. Those loan, admin fee would be whatever for one show. I think we have to view them. I'm curious how it's set because we had to kind of change it around a little bit. I think we have one more with him, if not two more. Attempt takeover, become owner. No, I don't remember. Who has the title, by the way? TNT title's vacant still. Oh no, Moxley is now the champion, so Jericho has lost it. I don't remember how to get talent trades now, because we don't want an alliance alone. We want a talent trade. Might just be on the main page now. Talent trades, yeah. So AEW, single worker. I'd like to be able to see what Chris Jericho is already on our roster. I don't know how much more we have for him, but basically, if you don't know, the talent trades essentially work the same. You can have a limited number per quarter, every 4 months. You can kind of do 3 or 4, depends on your size and who you're working with. You can take a tag team, which is nice, which we're probably going to do for our next major event, which is after MidAtlantic Mayhem, will be the Crockett Cup, which will be using the tournament function, and it's a tag team tournament. So we'll probably grab a few people from AEW. Probably like maybe Young Bucks and Private Party would be fun. I mean, that would be great, but I doubt that would be easy enough to do. The talent traits are a little bit different now because you can't just say, I'll also give you money, which is what you used to be able to do. You have to also be able to say, I will give you like a person. So, I could give you Sasha Banks. And they would still not be open for that for, reasons. But they would be open for like Jurassic Express. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. Would you take Young Bucks? No. Wow. Which, I mean, it makes sense because you don't necessarily want to get rid of people, easily. Just throwing money at them probably is not something that's going to be copacetic, but, it is what it is. So, one thing we want to do before we go, I would like to make a venue. So let's go ahead and let's go into investments, and let's go ahead and invest into create a new venue. Now, technically they don't own this, right? So they're out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm trying to remember studio. I'm trying to remember where they're out of, because I want to have the correct one. But basically, it's an old TV studio that they were running. The GPD Studios, which I think Georgia Public Broadcasting Studios. It has since been dubbed the NWA Arena. So we could do the GPD Studio NWA Arena, Southeast. And let's make the capacity a little bit larger than real life, just so that we have something to work in. So this 2,500 would cost us $65,000, which is a pretty penny. How about 1,000? It won't be 24. 750, 1,800. I'm pretty cool with 750. We're averaging about 400 a show. We could obviously branch off eventually, and we could even sell this off. I think 18,000 is not bad. Let's do 800. Get it. What do we have to do a solid $20,000? And we'll do that. All right, we'll do 850. About 20,400 is pretty good. So this is the Georgia Public Broadcasting Studio of Atlanta, Georgia, purchased Corgan and the National Wrestling Alliance and rebranded as the NWA Arena. Okay. So we'll create that venue. That will be a territory that we can now use. We can always edit or sell it. So if we ever needed to upgrade, we can expand the capacity, which is, I think, a new feature. I don't remember that, which it's very handy. Very like that a lot. Wow, I could talk today. But very cool. Like, you could just add an extra, 170 people, start expanding stuff, which is probably what we're going to do. We'll probably expand outwards, but this gives us a pretty good opportunity here. But the other thing we could do is start to look at like developmental, but it's probably too early for that. But I think once we move the threshold over in our size, we'll do that. 42 for Southeast, which it's a little too early to be able to track progress. I think it's about the same. This is going to move pretty slowly, but we're situated to slowly move up to medium. But I think with some future hires and some smart decisions, I think we can probably do it. And the Alliance is definitely going to help us. What else did we want to look at before we left? We talked about merchandise. We can't see it yet, so we'll have to wait until the end of the month. I'm very curious to see how our merch sales are. Very excited to kind of take a look at that and see where that falls in line. But other than that, we are pretty much done, and we are ready for MidAtlantic Mayhem. 4 days, everyone should be available. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun one. I'm pretty excited about the card. I think it's shaping up pretty well, and it'll lead us to a kind of a new direction for NWA and let us do some fun stuff afterwards. All right, thanks guys for joining me. I'll see you next time.